that's the state that we are in. We are here to be together. That's our primary objective this evening, I think. We're here to be together. And we're here to share in the feelings that we're all having. And we're here to mourn. And we're here as part of what I have grown to experience this week as some type of collective Shiva. We're in some kind of collective Shiva. And so we're here to share in that, to sit together, to be together. And then we're also here to celebrate Shabbat. Thank God that we have Shabbat. I'll say more about that in a minute, but for now let's light the candles. Rabbi Abby is here with us as well. Hi, here she is. Rabbi Abby is going to light the candles and we can all sing together.
Very symbolic. I'm sorry. I light candles every week. Something would have let us light this week.
Some folks here from the Shul of New York. I know there are musicians here from the Shul of New York. We got Seth and Matt. Thank you guys for being here. Rabbi Bert at the Shul of New York has, I remember him many times going like this with the candles. He says, you guys can try this with me. May we be blessed with Shabbat light. May we be blessed with Shabbat peace. May we be blessed with Shabbat holiness. Jonathan is here with us for the beginning of our service. Jonathan just last week, when was it? Yom Kippur was really not that long ago. On Yom Kippur, you may remember his gorgeous rendition of Natana Tokef, in which he described his father, who was captured by the Egyptians during the Yom Kippur War. His father was captured on October 7th, 1973. 50 years to the day from the day of the attacks. And one thing that amazed me about Jonathan was that all week long he's been working on one song. And which song is that? It's Ki Ha'adam Etz Hasadem. So I'm going to let Jonathan say a word about that and sing it.
I've been singing this song to myself throughout the week because it's comforting and one of the most beautiful poems in Hebrew. And but also the original verse comes from the Torah and from the laws of war, like what you shouldn't do in a war. And they said that when you lay a siege over a city, you shouldn't cut the fruit-bearing trees because ki adam et hasadeh, because the human being is like the tree of the field. So yeah, there's something confusing and emotional and heartbreaking about it. So. כי האדם עץ השדה כמו האדם גם העץ צומח כמו העץ האדם נגדע ואני לא יודע איפה הייתי ואיפה אהיה כמו עץ השדה כי האדם עץ השדה כמו העץ הוא שואף למעלה כמו האדם הוא נשרף באש ואני לא יודע איפה הייתי ואיפה אהיה כמו עץ השדה אהבתי וגם שנאתי טעמתי מזה ומזה קבעו אותי בחלקה של עפר ומר לי בפה כמו עץ השדה כמו עץ השדה כי האדם עץ השדה כמו העץ הוא צמא למים כמו האדם הוא נשאר צמא ואני לא יודע איפה הייתי ואיפה אהיה כמו עץ השדה אהבתי וגם שנאתי טעמתי מזה ומזה קבעו אותי בחלקה של עפר ומר לי בפה כמו עץ השדה, כמו עץ השדה, כי האדם עץ השדה. כי האדם עץ השדה. עץ השדה.
fasting yesterday. Did you guys hear about this?
No.
Yeah, you heard about it. There was what's called a Ta'anit Tzibur, a communal fast that was announced, and lots of people and all kinds of congregations, all kinds of people were fasting, and people all week have been. I personally, I felt like I'm already in a fast. I'm in it already. My body is there. My whole being is there, and so I ate less. And I was hearing about Rabbi Arik Asherman today, a wonderful rabbi in Israel, who was also on a hunger strike, actually, for something else. In any case, everybody stops on Friday evening. There are no fasts, right? That's the other piece that I think is important to kind of take into consideration with regards to our evening here, is that, if this was a Shiva, the Shiva's coming to a close. Shiva's coming to a close, and Shabbat has arrived, and Shabbat relieves us of all these things, right? You don't mourn on Shabbat. You don't mourn. So I don't know that we can rid ourselves entirely of that, but there are some verses in Lechadodi that we're going to sing, which help us think about how to move from a space of sadness to a space of Shabbat, a space of rest. So one of the verses in Lechadodi goes like this. It says, Mikdash melech ir melucha, hu mitz'i mitoch ha'afecha. Rise up out of the balagan. You guys know the word balagan? Yeah, balagan, out of the mess. Rise up out of the mess. Rav lach shevet be'emek habacha. You've sat enough in the valley of tears. Ve'hu yachamol alayich chemla. And God will have great compassion and love for you. So we're going to keep to our Shabbat tradition of singing Lechadodi, which you can find in here. 10 points, whoever can point at the page. What is it? 7. Page 7. Guys, say hi to Trip. This is Trip over here. Trip is a wonderful drummer who's been with us for a while. Our heartbeat. That's right. Here we go. Ready? Give us a heartbeat, Trip. Lechadodi bikat kala yalla 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 Shabbat
Yeah.
You guys can have a seat.
Isha and I have one of, I think, ways that the elevated the last few days for the purpose of preparing for this Shabbat. So I thank you for giving us this gift. We were in communication and we were just saying now Shabbat. If first Nigun, then Shema, then Shabbat. I'll do a Nigun. This is a Nigun. That is a covenant answer. You'll answer if you want, but today my friend Karim Suleiman helped me in a moment that I felt that I was drowning, and I was like, I don't know, how I can get out of it, and at the same time I got a message from him and a text, and the text also was, and then he also recorded, he's like, damn, and it was a lot of energy coming out, and I realized, I told Misha, I was like, I didn't get it all week. I'm like absorbing, and I didn't put it out. I didn't put it out. This anger and the frustration and the fear and everything. I didn't get it out. So, if you are inclined, it is a little more gentle, but it's a beautiful melody that is given us by our friend Joey Weisenberg from Philadelphia. It's for Shochen Olam, Shochen Ad. And we've been doing it in Beinenu for so many years. And so it is a common answer. Sanskrit, you know the answers. You guys know the answers. Hopefully this brings you some.
mode of singing and screaming and speaking. That's important. That felt amazing. And there's the mode of silence, which has been precious this week when it's been there, which has been, I think, a little rare, but it's been there. I can say that for me, one of my biggest struggles this week was putting out words when all I wanted was to be silent. That's all I wanted. So we're going to go into the Shema and the Ve'ahavta, our call to love, and then we're going to go pretty quickly after that into the Amidah, which is going to be a kind of extended silence. But let's start with the Shema and the Ve'ahavta, which we can find on page 11. You can close your eyes if you want. And you can take a deep breath. One mode I don't know that I've mentioned is the mode of prayer. I've had some people who told me this week that this is the first time in many, many years that they've found themselves davening, really praying, calling out to God. So I'm going to give you all a few options. This has become something of our tradition at the New Shul, is that the Amidah, there's some options offered. And I'm going to offer you the option to just sit right where you are, because we're in Shiva and we're sitting, and just to sit and be silent with whatever comes to connect. I'm going to offer you the option of standing. The Jews, we like to be silent, standing up. And so I'm going to offer you the option to simply stand, to rise out of your seat and be silent, standing. And I'm also going to offer you the option of reciting the prayers. And you can use the traditional prayers that we have here on page 13 and on for another few pages. And so we're going to take a few moments of silence now for each of us to pray or meditate in their way. Those of you who are interested in rising, please rise. And those of you who have stood, I invite you to turn to face Jerusalem, Yerushalayim, the city of wholeness and peace.
Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Leah. El Hagdol Hagibor B'Hanora, Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Mechonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avodim Avod, U'Yigol Lebnei B'neihem, Am Shemo Le'ava, Melech Hozer U'Mashiach U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magid Avraham Litzot Sarah.
We continue, sir.
Shalom Aleinu, Ya'akol Yisrael. Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu, Ya'akol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Shalom.
Thank you, Linda. I wrote the next thing I'm going to share with you, because I knew that I won't be able to, for this. I knew that I'm not going to be able to say it without writing it. So this is what it is. You can do it. You can do it.
Yes, you can.
Exactly a month ago, just before Erev Rosh Hashanah, my high school friend Eyal Kamika shared on our high school WhatsApp group a poem prayer for the new year, in the spirit of the days of prayer and plea of forgiveness which we were ahead of us. This past Sunday, Eyal shared with us this devastating news. Shocked and in endless despair, I'm sharing that our firstborn, Yanai Kaminka, who would have turned 21 this month, was killed yesterday while fighting as an officer in rescue and saving mission in Zikim base. In Yanai's memory, I would like to read the translation of his father Eyal's poem. I told Eyal that I will be singing a song for Yanai today. I said that this is all I can offer. And he asked me if it can be recorded and sent to the family. I know you're all here with us, which will be very meaningful for them. And I added, of course we can. And then he closed with saying, praying for better days. I actually want to read part of the original song, poem in Hebrew first. תפילה לקירוב חברתי, אייל קמיקה, עיבוד לנא לגעת, 2015. זה נכתב לפני ראש השנה. בימים כשנדמה שנוסטלגיית העבר חזקה מתקוות העתיד, התכווצות האישון, התרחבות האישון, נא לגעת, נא לראות. בימים של תשוקה והרהור וסליחות, בימי צעקות וצודקים וצודקות, כששבט מתכנס אל תוך שבט, אופנות האנשים מתחדדות, נא לגעת, נא לראות, נא להתקרב. This is a quick translation that we worked with the Jim. So, a prayer for social intimacy by Eyal Kamika. In days when nostalgia displaces hopes for the future, one pupil contracts, another dilates. Please touch, please see. In days of passion, contemplation, and forgiveness, day when righteous souls cry out, when tribes withdraw into oneself and people edges grow harder, please touch, please see, please draw near. Please see the different, the scared, the enraged, and draw near to those who squint, who enrage. Draw near to kin and non-kin, to see, to touch the silent ones, those in pain and the others, especially when breathing gets rough and history's pages blur. Please see the seers, the dreamers, the screamers, with the consent of the holy and with the consent of the tribes, with a touch of above and with a touch of below, with a touch of distance, the touch of a word, and also with forgiveness, a question and a prayer. May this will be the year of social intimacy and distance from despair. I would love for all of us to sing Shalom Aleichem for Yanai Kavika.
It's on page 3. Yehi Zichro Baruch. His memory be a blessing. I also ended up writing some things down. Wasn't sure what kind of state I'd be in. So I want to share some words with you. And first of all, I want to say if anybody needs some water or some wine or something, go Susan's out there. There's a water fountain out there. Take a moment, do what you need to do. There we go. Ari came prepared. And I'll say this. Of all the prayers in our Siddur, the one that has been most appropriate for me this week is the very, very end of the Amidah when we say, what do we say? That's what it is.
And I couldn't find the key.
Right. Netzor Leshoni Mera. We speak to God. We say, Netzor Leshoni Mera. Stop my tongue from evil or from bad. Usfatai midaber mirma. And my lips from speaking untruth. And the reason that this has been so significant for me is because I keep pausing after the second word in each of those 3-word phrases. Netzor Leshoni. Stop my tongue. Usfatai midaber. And my lips from speaking. I say that to say, I want to share words with you, but I don't know what they're worth. So, soon we'll be at the end of this Shiva, right? It'll be, it was exactly a week ago tomorrow morning when we all woke up. And we're going to have to stand up, right? Whether it's tomorrow or soon, we're going to have to stand up from this thing. And then there's a question of, what do we do with our legs? Right? And with our mouths, with everything. So I want to give some thoughts on that. Emmanuel Levinas, the French philosopher, he describes the commandment, thou shalt not murder, like this. He says, that's when you look into somebody's eyes. That's what that is. He explains, normally, we're selfish, lazy creatures. We think about ourselves. But the moment we look into another person's eyes, that dramatically transforms, and we become a kind of servant of this person. We step out of ourselves in this dramatic way. We're commanded in that moment, do not kill. There's somebody else there. We know this commandment was violated very violently this week, horribly. We all saw these videos, I think, of Hamas fighters, or, doing exactly that, looking at into somebody's face and just ending their life. And there's only one way, I think, to be able to do that, and that's to, before you do it, to not see that person as a person. To not see that person. If you don't see the person as a person, you're not going to hear the commandment, do not kill. You're not going to, don't do it. And this is, I think, if there were one thing to boil all of our faith down to, it's possibly that. It's possibly seeing the other person as a human being. Our entire history is about that. Right? Our entire history has to do with people looking at us and seeing a Jew, and seeing somebody that is not just Misha and Amy. And, it's not a person. It's a category. It's a symbol. And we experience that. We're experiencing that all the time. This week, right? Today we were. How many of you were scared to come because of that? Right? Were people scared to come?
No.
Right? Yeah. No. Ricky wasn't scared. Let's learn from our elders. Yeah. Yeah. One of the interesting things that happened with regard to this world of symbols versus humanity, people, this week, has to do with what happened to the symbol and the system called the State of Israel. Part of what we're mourning today is Yanai and all the other people who we've lost. But I think we're also here because what we've experienced this week is the complete collapse of, and Israelis really felt this very strongly. There was a real collapse of the state. We know that the intelligence failed, right? We also know that the army failed, right? The army upon which the Israelis have relied. Tel Aviv, to drive from Tel Aviv to Kibbutz Be'eri, for example, it takes, what, an hour? Maybe an hour and a quarter, right? We all saw these numbers. It took them 10 hours to get there. What is that? But there were others who did get there faster. And that's one of the amazing things that happened this week. It was people. It was people who got there. Regular people, citizens. My commanding officer, one of my commanding officers in the Army 27 years ago, Yair Golan, he's now a hero because he managed to get down there, get through all the, anybody stopping him, and he wasn't using a walkie-talkie or any military devices. He had a rifle, but he was using WhatsApp. Literally, people were sending him, locations. This is where I am hiding in this particular bush. That's what was happening. And he was going around from location to location, collecting people and bringing them to safety. This wasn't the army. The man was, just so you understand, this guy, he was the second in command in the Israeli army.
70s?
No, he's not in his 70s, I don't think.
No.
I don't think he's that old.
No.
Yeah, I think he's in his early 60s, maybe. Yeah. Yeah. So, what we're calling the state in the army was replaced with just people. Just people. Yeah. You may have seen or heard about these fundraising campaigns for ceramic vests. You guys heard about this? No? Well, our good friend Itamar is not here today because his close friend was killed right next to the Lebanese border, and his unit is now trying to raise money for ceramic vests. Now, why would they need to raise money for ceramic vests when, right, that's insane, right? Why would they need to raise money for ceramic vests to protect the soldiers who are all about to go into Gaza? Why? How could this be? The level of the failure and the hollowing out of the system is unfathomable, and we are crushed by it. We're broken by it. I'm supposed to give money. Isn't the U.S. giving billions of dollars? Right? The government just promised, why don't they have money? Well, part of the reason is they're giving billions of dollars away to the ultra-Orthodox, and so my parents, my brothers, my nieces and nephews this week were buying cans of food and dropping them off in places for the military. Yes, that's what's happening. Where did the money go? Where did it go? And how did they mess up so completely? It's a complete and total failure. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
Misha, I want to mention, my brother is now on the north border. I want to mention that he also is being offered, they have everything they need at the point, but they're also being offered a lot of food and equipment by the Druze community and by the Arab community of the north. So I just wanted to say that.
Thank you for saying that. The leadership of the Arabs in Israel has been quite profoundly on point They have, yeah. They've been really calling out Hamas, and also able to say, killing civilians in Gaza is wrong too. There's more I can tell you. There's like social services offices that are supposed to take care of the people who lost their homes down south. They're also doing a mediocre job. And so private people are stepping in. Just people are stepping up and raising, whatever needs to happen. It's kind of astounding. But there was one thing that for me was the clearest example of the collapse and of what's actually left there, right? And that has to do with thank you. It's more in the realm of ideas, but it's a deep idea. So when we were growing up, if all of Israeli thinking could kind of be boiled down into one thing, it's that we don't leave soldiers behind. We don't leave soldiers behind. When we were growing up, there were stickers all over the place, bumper stickers and stuff, for Wonarat. You guys know the name Wonarat? Wonarat was an Israeli soldier who was captured in Lebanon. So by the time I'm coming into my political consciousness, he's been kidnapped for about 20 years. But that doesn't matter. Everybody's talking about Wonarat. It was a big issue, major issue. Gilad Shalit, you guys have heard of Gilad Shalit?
Yes.
So Gilad Shalit, he was exchanged for 1,200 prisoners. And then this week, what happens? I can barely even say it, but the Israeli government, the ministers of the Israeli government, are saying we have to go into this operation as if there are no hostages. So I don't know what to say. That's what I mean by Mitzvah Shoni, just stop my tongue. I don't know what to say, right? How many people have you all said this week, what's there to say to? But there are a lot of people stepping up, and that really is beautiful. There's a real beauty. There's a real sense of improvisation, right? We spoke about improvisation. People are really improvising over there in profound ways. But this volunteering the sad part of the volunteering is that it's primarily between Jews. It's true. The Arabs are helping, and there are joint Jewish Arabs initiatives. But I spoke to my brother yesterday. I told him I told him I'm in communication with my community. He said, "What did you write in your letter?" I said, "Well, I offered them a few different organizations that we could give money to, including one that was medical supplies for Gaza." So he says to me that you'd be considered a traitor over here for that.
Say it again.
You would be considered a traitor here in this moment for that action, right? Today I saw something horrible on WhatsApp. I saw a video of a protest in Jerusalem of people who are calling for the release of prisoners. Let's make a deal, right? There's this question. If we go into Gaza and flatten Gaza like they want to do, what's that going to do to the hostages? And so some people are saying we should make a deal with them. We should get them out. These people were attacked brutally in the street today. So this is like the flip side. It's the flip side of this Jewish notion of life, of our ability to see another person. 538 children, last I checked, were killed this week in Gaza. parasha. You guys know the parasha this week? No? People know? Bereshit. Bereshit. We forgot. Bereshit, in the beginning, the creation. And in the story of creation, we hear that human beings were created in God's image. B'tselem Elohim. B'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. Not one type of person. All people, right? All of us. Every single person was created in the image of God. Everyone. The Rambam, Maimonides, explains what is this image? What does that mean, image? We don't look like God, right? What is it? It's not physical. It's not a physical resemblance. It's our imaginative capacity, הכוח המדמה. Our imaginative capacity is our godly aspect. So I'm capable of imagining what it feels like to be a nice father. All of us are capable of this, right? I'm capable of imagining my cousin, my second cousin in Israel, whose son miraculously survived a gunshot wound. I'm capable of imagining that, right? We're all capable of imagining that. And I'm also capable of imagining a doctor or a construction worker or a saleswoman who's now walking from the north of Gaza to the south of Gaza, despite the fact that Hamas is telling her don't do it, because she knows that the bombs are coming. I'm capable. We're capable of that imagination, right? As a matter of fact, I would say we can see into their eyes. One last word on imagination, and then I'd like to get us all talking in some way. We can also imagine something about how this moment might impact the future. It sounds rough, right? Right? It's like you imagine, right? What is this doing? This is not doing good. This is doing bad, a lot of bad. But I was surprised from Saturday, as soon as it happened, throughout this week, there were several of my friends and family who were talking with not very typical optimism. They're talking about a shift in consciousness. You know, I don't know. Maybe. It's if there's going to be a shift in consciousness, right? What I described to you of the collapse, something that has to have some kind of impact, right? They're talking about the end of Bibi. Finally, they're talking about the end of Netanyahu. Right? They're saying he's not going to survive this. He's had a grip on this country for many decades. Yes. Destructive and horrible. That may actually, it's possible that there's we can imagine, right? We can imagine that. The war the way they're calling the war in Israel. You guys know the phrase for it? No. They're calling it the Simchat Torah war, the Simchas Torah war. Because it started on Simchat Torah. And what do we do on Simchat Torah? We finish reading the Torah, right? We finish reading it, we roll it all the way back to the beginning, and then we start over. We start over, right? That's what we're talking about. The last word in the Torah, anybody know the last word in the Torah? Extra points for this. Who said it? Tribune? Israel, of course. Israel is the last word in the Torah.
Not fair, Rabbi.
Abby, you don't get the full points. Israel is the last word in the Torah. The first word in the Torah, I think some of you know, right? Bereshit, right? If you take the last word in the last letter in the Torah and you put it together with the first letter in the Torah, you get the Hebrew word live. You can all try saying that, live. And you can try putting your heart on your live. This is your live. So, we, this week, have been in that in-between state of live. I think we've all felt it. We've been in live. And my prayer is for some kind of new beginning in which people see us just as who we are, and that we are able to see other people, inshallah, as people, just as people. I pray for a healing of hearts, Yeah. Maybe let's all say those words together a few times. A healing of hearts.
A healing of hearts.
A healing of hearts.
Healing of hearts.
A healing of hearts. So, I'd like to invite Rabbi Abby to speak a little bit from the heart, and then we're going to all get a chance to speak from the heart.
I realized after listening to Daphne and to Misha that I should have done the same. Like I should have written down, because I'm usually better at talking out of my heart and something that is not written down. But well, I'm just gonna go, and I will ask a favor that when either one of you decides that I should wrap up, just let me know, because otherwise I'm gonna talk until tomorrow morning. Don't challenge me, I can actually do that. I've been going back and forward in my head. If I like this week, I grew up with Yiddish, we would say Git Shabbos, compared to like Shabbat Shalom, a peaceful Shabbat. I keep going in my head because I had this conversation with someone I will share in a minute, a bit more of the conversations that I had, but one of my friends was missing from Saturday morning until Wednesday, when at which point his body was identified. But I was in contact throughout that time with his sister, who is a woman who is 7 months pregnant. This friend is someone who I met through a group which in Hebrew is called Yotzim B'Sheila, which are groups of our community of formerly Haredi, formerly ultra-Orthodox people. We have communities here, and I've been quite involved with the community in Israel as well. And so this is someone whose parents are still very religious, and who obviously until Saturday night didn't know much as they were offline. And after, his sister just kept telling me that they keep telling her that we're praying. And then at some point even said, no one should have been at a party on Saturday. But I was just talking with her, and one of the first things that came up, like one morning I wanted to ask her, and in Hebrew you want to ask like how you're doing, you say, Ma shlomech. And then as I'm typing it, I'm like, that doesn't sound right. It literally just means how are you, like it means how are you, but literally means what is your peace, like would be like a word for word translation. And it didn't feel right. And now this whole time, I just keep going, do I want a good weekend? Do I want a peaceful weekend? But am I stupid for even suggesting that and just going back and forward? I don't have an answer, don't look at me. I know people maybe look at rabbi sometimes to have answers. I'm out of answers this week. But I want to share a bit, just talking from heart, what's kind of like which I know wasn't just my own, but just talking from my own personal experience over the past few days, and then coming to today. And the goal of what I'm about to share, there is no goal. My goal is to share, and that's it. There's nothing else to it. But I woke up on Saturday morning thinking that I'm going to go to Shul. There is a synagogue that I go to that's just right next to my house. Saturday morning here was what we call Shmini Atzelet. It has one of my favorite prayers of the year, which is like a long prayer for rain, which I really relate to as a very natural prayer, this natural idea of the fall, the winter is coming, and this natural. And I was really excited to go, and I wake up, and for the first time in 11 years, I might have wished a bit that I wasn't using my phone on Shabbat. And it started with simple things, like first it was just people were saying there's a lot of rackets, and from the beginning, I don't know why. Before I think anyone knew anything, people were already saying, it might be related to something more. And then by the time I was fully awake, I was already seeing really, so this is about 7-8 hours in already, by the time I was morning here and seeing some horrible videos and everything. So I have a lot of family in Israel. I don't know if I mentioned it, my dad is from Jerusalem, and his whole family is still there, my grandmother's family. But I couldn't talk to any of them, because they are, almost all of them, very religious. And that made me feel just pardon my language, but it made me feel just shitty. I was what do I do? I do have one kind of a part of my family that is secular. They live in Ashdod. So I checked in with a cousin who I've been very close with over the past few years, very, very close. And talking back and forth, and I'm trying to get her on the phone, and she's like, okay, yeah, I can talk in 5 minutes. 5 minutes later, she's like, oh, sorry, no, we're in a shelter, we can't talk. And so just the whole day went between trying to figure out really what's going on, trying to talk to people I know, trying to talk to friends, trying to talk to family, and trying to figure out who's missing. I messaged a few people, and then I slowly started hearing rumors of something that I expected from the beginning, which is that my community, as in people who grew up in very religious communities, really love to not stay in big cities on holidays. It gets really hard. I know I have the same experience. Sometimes I just want to go. I think I shared about that on Yom Kippur, where I just wanted to go in the forest and eat pork on Yom Kippur. It's a feeling that a lot of us get. And on a holiday like Simchat Torah, a lot of people who still live, specifically if they live in Jerusalem, if they live even if you live in Tel Aviv or in other places, you want to get away. And as soon as I heard, there was a nature party, I knew right away that I'm going to know too many people who were there, because that's what we would do. There's a party with 3,000 people. The chances on a holiday, the chances of people who grew up Hasidic to be there, very, very high. And I was right. And by Sunday morning, literally as I was walking into synagogue, I finally made it out of bed. Oh, sorry, I forgot to say, on Saturday, I don't know when I got out of bed, but on Sunday morning, I get to synagogue, and then after I get a list from this organization, this community we're part of in Israel, with the list of all the people who are missing. I think at the time, 6 to 8, I don't remember the exact number, but 4 names I recognized right away. And worst was a friend or acquaintance, I don't think it matters by now, but someone who I met at a party, also at a party in the forest in 2021, in something right outside of Skopje, Yerushalayim. It's kind of this kind of an urban forest thing. Don't know how to explain it, but we had also on a holiday in 2021. It was a party, and I remember having this really long conversation with this girl who you look on her and she just looks like this person who grew up in a 60s countercultural revolutionary or whatever, and not someone who grew up in a super ultra-Orthodox Hasidic community. But there was the only thing we had from her was a video of her running that she sent to a friend. She was at the party, kind of running away. We didn't hear anything else until Wednesday. Again, thought he was identical. And then I go into synagogue, and I don't know if any of you have ever been at BJ, an Jeshurim, it's where I went. And for the first time ever going there, I was really upset on the acoustics. Have you ever seen the roof, the ceiling in BJ? And it's like meant specifically for very good acoustics. In the middle of the Amidah, I'm fairly certain everyone here be crying. And that's basically it. I think the last time I cried like that was also 11 years ago when some people, without going into details, told me that they're never going to let me see my son again. That wasn't accurate, it didn't turn out that way, but like that was the last time I remember having felt and having cried. I'm not going to bore any of you with how the next few days went, but as I said, like being in touch with friends and family, trying to figure out what's going on. One of the most random things which I think gave like this, I don't know, unique or whatever you want to call it, but given both my relationship with Israel, kind of like the work that I've been doing, I have a friend who is this queer, formerly Orthodox person who left along with her mom, but has one sibling who's still very religious. And that sibling lives here, but was in Israel for the holidays, and then she texts me on Sunday morning, we can't get in touch with my sibling, like, do you know if maybe if someone who's observant, who is not from Israel but is visiting Israel, do you know if that would be a reason why they can't reach them? This random thing of Sunday morning of like, I don't know, but like, that's what I had to deal with. It was just this reality of people everywhere wondering what's going on with their loved ones, the mix of holidays, the mix of Shabbat, the mix of dead people, the mix of people missing. But if I may, I'm going to wrap up, but I want to twist it for a second, because I want to mention one other person, and some of you might have heard her name. I wouldn't call her a friend, I don't think I'm that privileged, but someone who I got to meet also in 2021. Her name was Vivian Silver. She's a woman who has done a lot of amazing stuff. I met her in Be'eri, where she lived, on a tour with a group called the Seven. I'm not going to go into it, I'm not here to make political statements, at least not right now, but she is a woman who has truly done above and beyond for peace. Worked with people from Gaza, worked with people from the West Bank, founded several different organizations. As far as we know now, she's still alive. She's been taken to Gaza. But I just keep thinking, trying to imagine, because over the past few days, as I started hearing the rhetoric, you mentioned a bit of them saying like, we don't care about the hostages. I don't remember the last time I heard elected people of any kind, of any form, openly saying what sadly maybe too many are thinking, but they didn't use the word, but they were calling for genocide, for the lack of any other better term. And I just keep thinking of, here is a woman who I admire, who, again, I only got to meet her once, but I've seen her work and read her work, and she is one of those victims right now. I'm trying to imagine what she would want to say right now when hundreds of kids, when an enclave with 2 million people and about 1 million of those being kids. And all I could keep thinking is, would probably just be screaming right now. And that's what I've been feeling over the past few days, in so many ways. And the hate we're getting, like, I don't think I've ever gotten so much hate for saying I don't think babies should be killed. Which sounds, okay. And it goes in every way, and it's not a really harsh statement to say that I don't think any babies should be killed regardless of how they look or where on the map they live. But more importantly, I'm trying to remember and trying to keep in mind that even the people who need us the most right now, what they need us is not to flames of war, not to push for more people dying, and not to, what they need us to do is to take a breath as much as it's impossible and try to do anything that maybe doesn't involve more dead people. You mentioned Ki Adam Etz HaSadeh. What the Torah is telling us, when you are trying to conquer a place, what do? Do not destroy their food sources. Read the news if you don't know what I'm referring to.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, I'm done.
I'm going to suggest that you turn around or turn to the person next to you, get into little groups, and just share with each other what this week has been like. Take a minute just for each of you, just to talk to one another. If only one of you has been speaking so far, pass the mic around. Let everybody speak.
I know so many people. It's so crazy. I was filled with strength thinking about our other evening here. This is such a really important gathering, and how we had an important gathering. I wish there was peace so we could have a different kind of gathering. Everybody's okay and relaxed.
I think.
I don't want to know. I just don't want to live stream this.
Oh,
Private. You know, I'm like.
Thank you.